Honorable viewers, I welcome all of you to my YouTube channel Department of English. Today I would like to share with you Macbeth. It's a tragedy written by William Shakespeare. So let's get started. Macbeth is one of the greatest dramas of Shakespeare. Macbeth is both hero and villain. At the beginning we see him as an army general and great warrior. Dunque, the King of Scotland, is waiting for the news of the battle. Very soon, he hears about the heroic power of Macbeth. The king is highly impressed by the heroism of Macbeth and Banquo, another commanding officer who has fought side by side with Macbeth. Three wishes appear before Macbeth and Banquo at the time of returning from battlefield. Three wishes are the symbol of evil. They are nasty and ruthless. They welcome Macbeth and predict that he will be the king of Scotland. Quote, fair is fall and fall is fair. Overthrow the fog and fill the air. They also predict about Banquo that he will not be king but his next generation will be king. They also tell Banquo that though in one sense he is lesser than Macbeth, in another sense he is greater than Macbeth or Macbeth. Macbeth and Banquo arrive at the king's palace. In the meantime, Duncan announces the nomination of his eldest son, Malcolm, as the successor to the throne. Macbeth writes a letter to his wife after meeting three wishes. He also informs his wife about the prediction of three wishes. She is thrilled reading the letter and imagines her husband as a king of Scotland. But she knows it is very difficult for her husband to be the king. She also knows that her husband is too full of the milk of human kindness to make use of the shortest way to the crown, namely the murder of the present king. Suddenly, Lady Macbeth is informed that the King of Scotland is coming to visit her castle as a royal guest. Lady Macbeth takes it as an opportunity. There is a great soliloquy of Lady Macbeth here. Quote, come to my women breast and take my milk for goel, you murdering ministers. She makes conspiracy against the king very secretly. She informs her husband about her plot and advises him to be ready. To kill the royal guest. Now Macbeth is very confused. He is ambitious, but he does not possess evil traits. Lady Macbeth inspires him seriously. She also makes mental pressure for Macbeth. Initially, he denies the proposal of his wife because he knows the excellent qualities of Duncan. But his wife is determined to kill the king. She also decides that if her husband fails to kill the king, she will murder him. She has also made a plan whereby the suspicion for the murder will fall upon the two guards who will be on duty outside Duncan's bed chamber. She seriously scolds her husband and considers him as a coward. Quote, I have given suck and know how tender it's to love the bob that milks me. Lady Macbeth scolds her husband for lack of intercourse. She says that having suckled her children at her breast, she knows how deep is the love that a mother feels for the infant which sucks the milk from her breast. Here she appears to be almost inhuman and says, so Macbeth agrees to commit the work. Lady Macbeth is prepared now with degrees to kill the king, but they cannot kill the king because Duncan seems resemble her father. Macbeth appears and tells his wife that he has done the action. After committing murder, we see the abnormal mind of Macbeth. Macbeth quickly kills the two guards so that they cannot create any complication. The two sons of the king, Malcolm and Donalbain, distrust, deceitfulness, won the part of Macbeth and decide to flee from Macbeth Castle. They also decide to flee from Scotland. Macbeth is now the king of Scotland. He is highly placed now, but another thought crosses his mind. He remembers the witch's prediction about Banquo. He thinks that any time he may lose his throne. So he decides to kill Banquo and Flens, that means son of Banquo. Although Lady Macbeth's desire to see her husband as the king of Scotland has been fulfilled, yet she does not have peace of mind. Banquo is killed, but Flens is able to flee from the curses of Macbeth. Flens's escape disturbs Macbeth. He takes it as his threat. Now Macbeth cannot sleep when he tries to occupy the seat for him. He finds Banquo's ghost already occupying the seat. Lady Macbeth understands the mental state of Macbeth. She tries to awaken him about the reality. But Macbeth believes that the ghost has probably come in order to take revenge. Now Macbeth targets Macduff, nobleman of Scotland. The next enemy. Macbeth further meets with three wishes. Now they say him something unpleasant about his future. Rose, nobleman of Scotland, informs Lady Macduff that her husband has fled from Scotland. Quote, he loves us not. He wants the natural task for the poor one. All is the fear and nothing is the love. Lady Macduff criticizes her husband's action. She says that her husband's action clearly shows that he has no love for his family and that he is devoid of the feeling of affection. Macbeth's men arrive to murder Macduff's family. Rose discloses to Macduff the methods of Macduff's family by Macbeth's men. Macduff decides to take revenge upon Macbeth. Now Lady Macbeth is feeling mentally so disturbed as to have been walking in her sleep during the night. Her sleepwalking keeps talking to herself, and all her talk is about the murder of Duncan, the murder of Banquo, and the murder of Lady Macduff. Some of the Scottish nobles become hostile to Macbeth and accept the leadership of Malcolm. Malcolm gives an order that every soldier in his army should cut down a branch from a tree in the forest and carry in front of him so that the advanced troops do not become noticeable to the enemy in the distance. In the meantime, Satan returns with the news that Lady Macbeth is dead. Macbeth shows little emotion when hearing this news. Here, there is one of the most philosophical speeches. Quote, she should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Macbeth is indifferent when hearing the news of the death of his wife, whom he loved so dearly at one time. Here, Macbeth finds no meaning in life. Macbeth compares life to a candle, to a walking shadow, to a poor player or actor, and to a table told by an idiot. The note of the pessimism and absurdity is obvious here. Macbeth says that once he had courage and power, now he is cold. He finds no significance in so called power and pay. There was a time when he was very sensitive to human misery. But now the sound of women's weeping has not effect on him. Quote, I have almost forgot the taste of fears. The time has been my senses would have cooled. The solitude indicates the inner state of mind of the speaker. Macbeth has no undergone a lot of change. He ruled his country with an iron hand. Now the weeping of women does not touch him in the least. Now a messenger reports Macbeth that a forest is coming towards the king's palace. Macbeth cannot believe that such a thing can happen. The English army under the command of Malcolm is now ready for the battle. In another part of the battlefield, Macbeth is getting ready for the fighting. Macbeth rebukes his servant, uttering the following lines: I have lived long enough my way of life. Is fallen into dice here the yellow leaf, and that we should accompany old age. As honor, love, obedience, tropes of friends. Macbeth feels that he has lived long enough. He compares himself to a leaf that has turned yellow with the coming autumn. He no longer expects to have those things which should come to a man with old age. These things are honor, love, obedience, and a large number of friends. In this stage, Macbeth realizes his downfall approaching rapidly. The above lines express a mode of complete disillusionment with life. Macduff is now waiting for Macbeth. He would like to kill Macbeth. He is determined to fight against Macbeth. Now Macbeth curses the witches who have misled him and says there is no point in his fighting against Macduff. He realizes that witches had deceived him by speaking words with double meaning. Quote, and be these juggling fiends no more believed. That pelter with us in a double sense. But very soon, Macbeth is killed by Macduff. Maclom's victory shows the re-emergence and reassertion of the natural order of things. The play ends with the defeat of the evil and the triumph of the good. So that's all about today's topic. Macbeth for the timing. Thanks for patience hearing.